Good morning, everybody. Hope we're ready for another exciting day. So let's just begin. Let me post this link out to a couple different places, and then we're good to go. So I have to post it in two spots, and then we can begin. A little coffee this morning, start the day. Feels like it's going to be a good one. So I really think that what you need to focus on, let me just send this link out, and then I'll focus a little bit more. And then I'll just be one more second, and then we're good. And now we're good. We are good. Good morning. So let's just go through a couple things that I think are most important, and then we can kind of go from there and figure out a couple things. So to start with, here's what I need to focus on today. Okay, this is the biggest thing that you need to focus on, and then I'll take anything that you want to go over. So let's remove this segment line. So this is my biggest concern with the market. Okay. And I kind of was trying to point it out yesterday, but this bidding up during the day, this is not what you want to see. Okay. We don't want to keep bidding up. We want to sell down. And you want to sell down so that you can clear this up. But we're having an issue where we're not getting the fear. So we really have to watch this level and see what happens and see maybe it does build and go higher. But we don't have that indication yet. We don't have any indication like that yet. We're trying to get there on the RSI, right? But we can't even really get above 50. We hit 50 and we rejected. So you need to pop over that line. But let's look at this for a moment, and then I'll take some questions after I go through the indexes. Okay, this is an H, and if I break this, this is my next support. Okay, so this could just trend down for some time. I would personally be using the rallies to be getting out of positions that I don't want to be in and looking for opportunities. That's how I would be doing it until this tells me otherwise. I'd be looking for areas to get out and just wait until this figures itself out, because this can get pretty nasty. Besides the debt limit and everything else going on. But look at this. I mean, you are clearly below your trend line here. Okay. And there is no support. You could call maybe there's support at 352. That's another 2 or 3% drop. I don't see any reason why that can't happen, right? And then you could bounce down to here. So there's a lot of downside here. The IWM is not as bad, okay? But you're getting close to starting to break this for real. Like maybe not one of these, but maybe like a real break. So that's why I haven't really been adding small caps yet. I haven't been adding names back like this because I'm concerned that they're next. Okay. So just consider that. Like these names are starting to reverse. The ones that were just looked like they were going to go up and everybody was excited. See how they're all reversing? So that tells you that the underlying puts on that market are probably not great. So you're probably going to want to watch that, okay? But that's as far as indexes. Just be careful. This is you're teetering on the brink of breaking down, and just consider that. So that's all I have to go over. Oh, that's great. Good. I'm glad, Voss. I'm glad to hear it. It took over. I waited a month to put them all together and kind of test them out a little bit. And, I know some people are frustrated, not frustrated, but, there's a lot of ideas out there. And we're trying to figure out how to cycle them through. And I think the new alert room is really going to be a game changer and profitable for people. I really believe that. Hey, Franklin, good morning. So I've been watching this little guy. Look, I don't play OTC and these little guys that much. I will say this. OTC's been on fire lately. And I don't play the space for a lot of reasons, but that's okay. Let's go through this. So here's where you closed. Okay. Here's where you're at. So can this go? Yeah. I mean, it can go back up. Your best case scenario, in my opinion, is up to here, which is still a huge move on a little tiny stock like this. But there's your level. You can see already that you've tested that level, right? You can see right here, I'll get it off that watermark. You can see that you've tested that level and you've already rejected it. So that's what you're looking for. Anything above that is exactly what you want to say. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind, but I get it. Yeah. I mean, look, jobless claims coming in worse than forecast. Look, I'm not surprised by it. I'll cover it in a moment. Good morning, my friend. So let me go here and start. So knee, very simple. Okay. So my position with knee and what I'm getting at is if you break down here, which I don't think you're going to do, but here was my thought process. Okay. The utilities trade on yield. See how yield's been coming down? Here's treasury bonds falling off a cliff, right? As they continue to come down, okay, this started going up. Okay, and then if you look the other day, this was the top performing index. So it's kind of telling you that maybe we've had enough of the selling down here. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Now, I really wouldn't be a buyer of this, and that's why we are where we are. I really wouldn't be a buyer until I get above that level. You know, you can cheat it a little bit because you're not playing for much, but I would not cheat more than that, you know, just a little. But I like that trade. I think it could work. But in regards to you know, jobless claims, you know, look, I don't think it's any I don't think it's any great secret, you know, as far as jobless claims, what, you know, that they're just not good. I mean, the key issue with it, okay, is that they're going back in the other direction. We were looking for 320, now we're at 330, and could this get worse? I don't know. It could. You know, it could get worse, and it's something that you have to consider. Does it mean that they might not raise rates soon? I don't know, because there's a lot of internal fighting right now with Powell, and a lot of people that are in there want him out because of what's happening with inflation and gas prices and food prices, and it's, you know, it's because of inflation. To say it's not, you know, so it's a problem. But I don't know how. I don't think that's the growing. I don't think that's the biggest issue that we could have right now. I think we have much larger issues for the market. Let's take a look at LCID, Stefan. So, you know, the thing about names like this is they are crowded shorts. So to answer your question, yes. I mean, this is pretty much something like that. I would prefer this deeper for like those devil horn patterns. I would prefer this deeper, right? Because really the break is to here, but is this? Yeah, I mean, this is complete utter rejection over and over again. I mean, it's very clear what's going on here, that you have sellers up here. I mean, look at this, bonk, bonk, right? It's over and over again. So the real trade on where you might start seeing selling is, you see this open right here? Here, let's get rid of this. You can see we're on the 8th day, right, Stefan? The real trade might be the low of this. See the low of that? This open? See how you're near the bottom on this bar? Breaking that means that you're flushing everybody out that was here, everybody that was out that was here, right? You can see it's almost exactly the same number. So you break that, you probably flush. You probably have a flush like this at least. So you might want to watch that. You know, this could eventually, I mean, this could keep going. It could keep going up. you have a very large short position in there, very large. So, hey, Doug, I'm RK. So here's where you're at. I mean, you went right to the 50 and you held. You need to flip that 50. You really do. You have to flip that and you have to get above it. And I'm not so sure that that's going to happen. So, let's see how that plays out. But, this is a pretty decent move since then. And frankly, if you go back and take a look at it, this is just people playing defense and finding ways to park capital, right? Okay, it's definitely better than what's going on here, right? Right. I mean, it's definitely better than any of them. So, I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff out where I think Merck is coming out with a new drug, a new treatment for COVID, and I think that maybe that's why it's getting some movement. But we're going to have to see. We'll have to see how this all plays out. So, good entry point for NVIDIA. Are you looking as a long or a short? Because I mean, candidly, I'm short that. So from a long, I wouldn't go near it. I would not go near this on a long until we start getting above the 50-day. These are all pointing down. Any rally to me is going to be short-lived. That's just, unless some fundamental news hits this market that jolts us up. Okay, we're in sell the rally mode until this changes. It's very clear we're getting stopped out left and right in the newsletter. I mean, when that starts happening and you start getting stopped out all over the place, you need to pay attention to that. So what you're seeing here, what's going on up here, is that I think you can get back up to this level, hopefully, 210, 211, and then roll back down. But we're going to have to see. But any rally, even, like yesterday, I was saying it pre-market, and I rarely say that, to short it. And it worked pretty good yesterday. You could have picked up a quick 5 points. And I think that it's going to just continue to be like that. And I think this is really at risk. Like, look, Gerard, and I don't know why you're asking, but this is the SOX. The SOX broke yesterday, right? I mean, this is a short. Okay, that's just an outright short. So, you better hope that we hold here and we don't go through it, right? Because if you go through that line, semis are going to get really ugly. To me, semis look very nasty. So I'm not a big buyer here. I left that up. Okay. Hey, Nicholas. So MTDR and QB. Well, I'm not really sure what's going on here, but this is acting really well. Okay. And if you see this continue to break out here, let's look at the volume. Yeah, and your volume's increasing. I'm not sure what space they're in. Someone throw out what space they're in if you know off the top of your head. Resources could be energy. But if you know what space MTDR is in, please throw it out. I like this a lot. I like these deep bases and when we start widening here. So this is definitely something that I may even look at. You'd be looking for a break above this level or $39, but it's definitely something that I would keep my eye on. Let's take a look at this on the weekly. Yeah, I like stocks like this, that are setting up like this. I mean, especially after this. Look, we talk about this kind of trade all the time, right? Bonk, bonk, bonk. Gets through it. First mouse gets what? The trap. Second mouse gets the cheese. Yeah, I mean, this is really nice. Again, just let me know what space it is. I'm curious. CUBI. Yeah, I mean, I get this. I think you missed this. I think you missed this move. It's a regional bank, right? So, I mean, if I was going to play regional banks and I was interested, I'm going to be blunt. I would buy this. If I wanted to play regional banks, this is what I would be playing because that's this was perfect. And I just didn't do it because I didn't trust the financials were going to continue. And if you're in this, it's volatile. But, from here up, and now you're forming a base. So, I would focus on DPST instead, right? I mean, that's really what I would focus on instead of an individual name. So, that's what I would focus on here. Tomorrow, you're not going to have any bad news. So if financials are going to run, this might run. So let's just take a look at something very quickly. And we can kind of get a sense of which way we're leaning. So you're leaning towards XLK. These are all coming down, by the way. But you're leaning towards tech leading today and utilities and energy selling down. We'll have to see how that continues. But CUBI, I mean, it could work, but it's going to be a slow mover. I would tell you, Nicholas, to play that. Said, good morning, Dale. Let's take a look. I mean, look, man, there's going to be some, let me just put this out there. All right. There's going to be some amazing buys, like amazing buys. This is, I can't be any clearer. And I understand the push, but you cannot be looking at anything more than trades here because of where you're in position wise. I see what you're saying with the base, right? Like here's your base, right? This is what you're looking at going straight across, right? From up here. I mean, here, I can just draw it real quick because I can see what you're seeing. So, I mean, you're looking at this going, okay, well, here's that base. And I'm just drawing them roughly, right? But here's this base. And you can see how we interact all in here, bonk, 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 right? So what does that mean? Okay, it means that, yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. But you have a couple issues here, and I'm just going to point this out. So the very first thing is, you see this? Okay, we're going to get rid of that anomaly. So you come here and you hold that. Now, but let me show you something. Okay, and you might want to remember this for other trades. And I know that's not drawn perfectly. So see how these lines are getting, and your trajectory is getting worse and worse. Your angle is getting worse and worse. That's no bueno, which means no good. Like you don't want to see that. So that on top of this break yesterday and the fact that I can't close above my 50-day leads me to believe that this is the beginning of these breaks. And then you could start seeing some moves like we saw in October or November to the downside, that this could get a lot worse. So I would be really cautious here. It's very rare that I will buy something. I'll say this emphatically. It's very rare I buy something below the 200-day with any time frame of wanting to hold it long. But I'd be really cautious, really cautious here with something like this. To me, this is almost a short. Like here's one that, here's one that I absolutely love. And we made $56 on it in the newsletter, and then I got stopped out and I wasn't happy. Well, I'm sure as heck happy now, right? So see what happens when these break their 50-day moving average? That means institutions have given up on it. Well, who's buying an $800 stock, right? If you start thinking about it that way, who buys $700, $800 stocks and owns thousands and thousands or millions of shares of them, right? It's institutions. It's not retail. So if they're selling, you're going to have pressure. To me, this is a short now on any rally. And, I don't even know that you're going to get a rally with the way that they're trading. So just keep that in mind. I would not be out there looking for names like that. I'd be really very careful. Hey, now, so, again, I realize that I'm biased. I mean, I'm being blunt. I have a short position in NVIDIA. I made it, whether it works or not, I'll just honor the stop. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, look, the way that this works, if this market does correct, which this is not a correction, what we've seen so far. Okay, corrections are much deeper. This is going to get hit. What is interesting is that I'm doing this. Okay, so they are walking us up and they are walking us down. So something's going to have to give, and you're sitting right at this level. Now, if you look at that level this way, and these obviously change now, right? Because we took out that 1 day and we took out post data, but it's still the same, right? So this is all happening right on this level, okay? And it's a $700-800 stock, so you can't really be looking at it and splitting a dollar. I mean, you just have to realize that this is how it's going to trade. You're going to have some movement like that. So you really are waiting for this to get above like 794. You know, you're really waiting for a move like that. And until you get something like that, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm long this, and I married some puts against it, but to me, it looks beautiful. And, it was funny. I threw out a bunch of stocks last night, and it was pretty clear that the only one that really looks great to me is this. This also is interesting for a trade. If we sell down, the fact that this just started to break that 8-day is interesting to me. This could go again if the market turns and go higher. It's really hanging in there. It's hanging way, way much better in there than something like this, right? Which looks like it's about, again, you got to love your stops, right? We made $45 on that one. But you look at from here down and realize that, hey, you can go to 80 in, a blink of an eye. Hey, Lorenzo, ATER. So you're really breaking down here. Let's get rid of all these rays. Yes. So, and let's get rid of all these lines. So you're really breaking down here. And I would be somewhat concerned. So here's my wedge line. And, the thing about falling wedges is they are bullish, but they need to break them or look like they're going to break them. We're not doing that. So what you're doing is this. Forget those indexes for a moment, but here's what's going on here, Lorenzo. Look, I mean, that doesn't get any prettier, right? And look where you are. Now overlay that rising wedge break to the low, and now you're below the 21-day. So you can almost put your watch on this that you're going to here. I think you're going to the low 8s. You're going to test the 50-day. Maybe you hold it, maybe you don't. Maybe that's the end of this move. But I don't see anything that has me doing cartwheels to be in this right now. So, Aaron, I'll get to it in a moment as far as GDP data. Affirm. I'm trying to stick with stocks, but I understand the macro questions, and I understand the need to want to discuss them. And I'm not saying they don't have a point. They definitely have a point. But the GDP growth that you should be coming out of a pandemic with is not 6.7%. It should be substantially higher. And you're not seeing that. So I'm not crazy about the numbers. I don't think the market's crazy about the numbers either. Frankly, I don't think you're seeing enough of a move in the numbers. Affirm, look, watch this wedge line. You're staying in there and you're holding there. It's not really where you want to be, right? It's not really where you want to be. So this is where you're at, and it's just not a good look. You need to hold here. If you don't hold here, you're going to have a problem. If you hold here, you could bounce, but I don't see any reason to be going long here at all right now. If you're in from the trade, you're in from the trade, but there's no reason to go long there now. Look, the only comment I'll really make about GDP data is this. You're coming in at what, right? You're coming in at a number of 6.7 as a final versus the preliminary of 6.6. It's really something that you need to be concerned with. So, it's not huge growth, and people are trying to make it sound huge. It's not. You should be seeing like double digits, people getting back to work. We're not seeing that. We're seeing people going back on unemployment. So it's not good. That's the best way I can explain it. It's not great. Let's leave it at that. Hey, Joshua, Bill, JDST, and Crowd. Let's do Bill and Crowd. So here with Bill, Okay. Here's where you're at. I wouldn't go near this. I mean, to me, you're coming to this level. Like, look at this level. Look how perfect this is. Oops, excuse me. But look right here. As always, you want to subscribe to this channel and click notifications just because I don't always start this at the same time and you want to be notified of it, okay? When they come live. So look, see this range? I think you're heading back down to here. See this cross? Like with an 8 and a 21 on the simple moving averages. And again, I don't care if you use EMAs or SMAs. Use what works for you. But when you're crossing like this and you're pointing down, to think that you're just going to reverse and go up, it just doesn't work that way. Could you bounce? Yeah, you could bounce and then come back down. Sure. You could touch the 8, you could touch this, but you can't be chasing this. You're in no man's land. There's no support in here. Look, if we overlay this with volume by price, okay, there's nothing in here. Like I know that just by looking at it, right? And so do you, theoretically. I mean, you know that there's going to be very little in this bar, you know, versus what's going to be on up here. So this gap sets you up to come down here because you have no support, none. Okay, that's not where you want to be. Let's look at crowd. Crowd to me started to look like a short. So, yeah, I mean, you were really a short back here, and then you started trying to break out. And, you know, I think you're heading to the 227 level. You know, whether or not you want to short it or not, I think there's better shorts out there now, considering how high this has come down from. But 227, you know, there's some other names out there that look like they're just going to keep going down. But 227, I think this could get to. So just be careful. Hey, Zorro, bros. So, you know, I like the name. I had a position in it. I thought we were going to break. Apparently, I was the only one that thought that. You know, look, here's where you're at. You see the difference between pre and post? Okay. So here's where you're at. Ran up, tried to break out, didn't. Let's look at this on an hourly basis so we have more data points. Usually when you look at a chart, you want to have at least 30 data points, right? It just gives you a better picture, doesn't it? So this line's been here for what, ever? Since we started looking at breaking this and seeing if we were going to go off this doji, and then it didn't happen. So, and then you ran up to the support, broke support. What happens after you broke support? It's been, you know, downhill ever since. You kind of have to look at this and try to find levels, right? And you're kind of looking at one here, okay, right off of this. Okay, and you see the difference on why it's important to look at hourly versus daily sometimes, especially when you have less data points. So 42.85, you have somebody there that is definitely a buyer, right? How do I know that? Because this wick is price rejection. What does that mean? That means somebody stepped up to the plate and had so much buying there that it stopped it from going down. And you haven't gone near that level yet. So it is possible, right, that this got a little tighter here. And it is possible that you break this and go higher, right? You break the upside of this bar, which would be 46 and 25, right? If you broke that, 46.32, you could say 46.50. Okay. And if you do that, you could use 42.80 as your stop, right? So it's definitely something to consider because I think that these are the kinds of names that are going to move in this kind of market. You know, there's not a lot of supply and trading already. They're the names that tend to move in markets like this. ENB and Dole, sure. So ENB, I mean, I don't know what they do. I mean, there's your level. I wouldn't go near this until it breaks that level. Like, look how many times you tried once, you failed, twice failed, keep hitting it. You have a seller up there. Until you clean up that seller, I would not go near that. So Dole, what is this, the pineapple company? Look, on any new issue, there's your range, okay? So when you start getting, see how it rejected? So when you start that and you start understanding that, yeah, you could look at that bump for sure. This is huge volume for this. I mean, here was the break, and here's where you could have entered it. Okay. You could have used even the top of the wick, or you could even have come down here. But let's just use the top of the wick. Okay. So you broke, and then you have to get through the top of the wick. Okay. You've done everything you need to do. You have huge volume. You're through 1579, which is your level. So it's possible that this can go. This is possible that this could run and continue. And I'm just drawing this roughly, but you know, this is the top of the channel. If you want to see what this looks like, and I'm not saying it's going to have that kind of move, I'm just saying what it looks like to me is something like this. Comes back down, doles, dats. I'm going to leave these in here because I have a position in it. But what you're seeing here is that kind of pattern. So this could move. I'm not saying it's going to have the same velocity, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. So without a doubt. No, I don't think. I definitely do not think that BNTX is done going down. You know, again, we had it in. I don't know if you're asking because of the short I put on it the 2-3 days ago. Again, I don't know who's in the community, who's not in the community, because we do this video publicly. But when you're here, right, and you broke that 50-day, it was very clear to me that we were going lower. I didn't expect to drop that far, that fast. I expected it to kind of churn down. But I mean, you're down 60 points already. So do I think you're done? No, I do not think you're done. The fact that I can't even bounce up and over, not one of these bars. I mean, look, 3-bar patterns are extremely powerful patterns, okay? Because they show that there's that much force either to the buying or the selling behind it. If I break this, you're going to see another wave of people just puking it, because I'm not the only one that understands that, okay? So you need to get above like 293 to convince me that we're done going down. And only then I think you're going to bounce up to these levels, which is still a nice bounce, right? You're going to squeeze shorts, so you can make money off of it, but you need to get above a higher high here before you even consider buying this, right? So that's just how I view it. I mean, to me, it's still short. Yeah, AMC, I don't think has I don't think really has a chance here, right? I was talking about this the other day. Like, you're in a falling wedge, but you can keep breaking a falling wedge. The fact that we broke 50, tried to rally, failed, broke the 50 again here is pretty much an indication that we have an issue. So you could trade down and just base. Look, these stocks are not going to just completely fall out of bed unless news hits, okay? They're going to trade them down because of the option positions in them. They're just going to keep pulling premium out of the market, okay? That's what they're going to do. These are not going to have that big drop that everybody keeps thinking they're going to have. All they're going to do, like they've done here and here and here with these kinds of names, is just trade you down over time. It's like boiling a frog in hot water, right? It doesn't know that it's being boiled, okay? That's exactly what's going on here. Lulling people to sleep, right? And then people come out, buy options, and then it'll continue to do that. So for some time, okay? Jared, I would not be long NVIDIA. Netflix was okay. I did a trade on Netflix yesterday, real quick one. Broke out, looked like it was going to go. It looks like it's going to go again. Maybe it does. It's interesting. I mean, as far as large cap, and I call it a tech company, but as far as large cap tech, this is really the only one that we're seeing that is showing any strength besides Tesla. And this could go again if you broke above this level, right? You could. So it might be worth watching. I don't know. You're going to have to take a look at it. You're really going to have to watch this and see how this goes, right? So you have a line right here. So, maybe if you get above this, maybe it goes. Are you above that now? Yeah, I mean, that could go today. You're going to have to kind of watch it. but it could go again. It could get back up to here. I would just be really cautious about buying anything like this, because if we reverse, the ones that get hit are the ones that we go through first, or the higher ones. So you just have to be careful. Let's just see. Let's take a look. So, hey, Terry. So here's where you're at here. Yeah, I wouldn't go near this. Look, all these people that are pointing out charts on social media that are like, "Oh, this is where we bounce." It's not where you bounce if you're in a correction. It's where you go lower and you break those levels. Like this to me is heading down. We're heading down here. I mean, we're going lower. No, I do not think that you play this for a bounce. Get rid of that. I don't think you play this for a bounce. Could it bounce? Sure. To where? Here? I mean, do I really want that risk? Probably not. You know, you're catching a falling knife. So, you know, I mean, I saw a ton of people showing stuff like this. Like, you know, for those that are in the group, you know, I pointed this out on the weekly, right? Here, and said, hey, this is probably going to be a resistance. And if you flip it, you're going to go. If not, you have an issue. You know, you're down 13 points. And I'm watching people talk about it going, oh, we're going to hold this. We're going to hold this line here. And to me, it was very clear that you were not holding that line. You're catching falling daggers right now. Okay. And when that happens and people just want their capital, you need to get out of the way, not sit there and think that you're going to stop the tide. You're not. Okay. So when people want out, they want out. And that's what you're saying right now. So to me, this actually became, in my opinion, if I was going to be super technical, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but if I was interested, this is actually a short now. So just watch that. I'd be really careful there. AMD, I think, just looks like the whole market reversed. All semis reversed. Okay. I mean, we broke the line. Look, Daniel, we broke the line up here. It looked like we were going to go, right? And now look where we are. Okay. That's not good, right? Okay. You're below the 50-day. You closed again below it here. After you broke the 50-day, that was it. And now you're coming back down. It's not where you want to be. You need to hold 99. Right now, your goal is to hold 99.23. If you break 99.23, you're probably coming back down to here 90. So, you know, remember, you take the stairs up and the window down. Oh, I could change. Yes, I can. Thank you. No, you for telling me that. There isn't anything interesting. You know, when I'm putting out my pre-market news report, I'm looking for trades. I mean, half of them today were short positions. So, look, here's where you're at. I mean, I'd be careful here. I'd be really careful here, especially with a thin name like this, where you're trading 150,000 shares. I mean, I could move this. So be really careful there. Yeah. Okay. It's energy. Yeah, that's interesting. I would definitely look at that if that's energy. I know I'm behind here. Matador is an independent energy company. Yep. Okay, great. I would put that on my list as to watch. So, wow, I'm really behind. SM. All right, let's start catching up here. Yeah, I mean, maybe this is another oil gas exploration company. Yeah, there's your level, 2686. I got killed in DPST this year. Yeah, I don't think that trade's over, Boca, if the way that this is going. All right, so we got that. Let's go through the top three. Shop, Melly, Amazon. So I can do this super fast because Shop broke the 50-day. Looks like it's going lower. Wouldn't go near this. Okay, you need to hold 1,300. If you don't, it's a long way down. Okay, all these stocks that were once hot, like this, like to me, these are all going to, I think they're all going to break, right? And I think you're going to go through a correction in them. That's what I think is going to happen. I could be wrong, but people don't want to look, all the online names, they're never going to have comps like they had last year. It's just not going to happen if you think about it reasonably, right? It's just people are not, we're not going to do the lockdowns anymore. People are not going to stand for it. They're going to want to go out no matter what. These types of companies have issues. I mean, you know, look, usually if we break the 200 to get to the 200, you have 5 days, 3 days, 5 days, right? A month where you are below that. On top of that, this is a completely different chart than this. This was breaking a rising wedge. Look what you're doing here. Okay, falling wedge, and you're breaking, which leads you to believe that you're going to break this, right? See how you're rounding here? Like, that's what you have to understand about rising wedges, right? There's another side to a rising or a falling wedge, rather, right? There's another side to that, okay? And I'm not going to get super technical because of time, but there's your other side to it, right? So bonk, 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 right? I mean, that's what this is calling for. Just so we're clear, it's calling for a 10% drop. Is that possible? It is. It is possible. It is possible that this bounces down 10%. So let's see. I'm behind here. So space. Yeah, I think I'm fast forwarding through some of these because I'm behind. So here's space. Okay. And I would take a look at space today and go from there. I mean, I get this trade now. Look, okay, I'm actually surprised that you're not bidding up more. And the reason I say that is we know how we sold down on this, right? We sold down on this because of what? The FAA? And now we're not selling down. And we're not really rallying on it either, are we? But it's definitely something I had on my list for this morning, but I'm just not seeing any love as I thought I would see for this. So I expected this to be a big news event, and I'm not seeing that, which leads me to be somewhat concerned about it. But space is definitely on my list to watch today. So let me go through these. Let me jump back up here for a minute, and I'll start doing these on kind of a lightning round so that we're catching up. Vet. Yeah, I mean, look, this is what you're saying, and this could continue to go, right? Yesterday was a great breakout over this high, and there you go, you went. So could that continue? Absolutely, that could continue. So I think that's one of the, I mean, names like this, they can keep going. I don't know how tied they are to energy, but I've been saying these for some time. MRO, you're seeing that breakout, Oxy, but like that, yeah, that could definitely keep going. That's something that you want to look back on pullbacks, okay? That's something you want to look at on pullbacks. I'm going to start going through these and doing less commentary so that we can, okay? So I like this. I think that there's another trade in it down here, okay? Here's my issue. You just need to watch this because now you're below the 8-day. Okay. So that changes. Okay. That changes your 350 level, 1350 level. It's why I didn't come out today and say, hey, you need to be looking at this one. I don't want to be below my 8-day trying to play a bounce here. That concerns me. That means I might have more downside. All right. So just FYI on that. You got to be careful here now. So, cost, Costco looks like a beast. It's really just been running, but you're getting there. You have an issue now. Like here, let's get rid of this for a minute. So this is Boca. It's so important to be putting your upper trend lines in and seeing where they lie. Because when you flip these levels, we've seen it, right? You've been there for UPST. You've been there for Asan. When they flip those levels, we kill it. We make huge percentages on our capital. When they don't flip those levels, okay, that's where you sell. Okay, just like here, this was no different than Snap I just went through at 83, right? This is no different trade. Now overlay this with it. What? No, you got to be really careful here. Now you got to be really careful here. So that's a scary way to look at it, Ryan. So you should be looking for getting the goal to 25 and not just betting that one stock's going to get you there. So it's a scary way to look at it. I'm not saying it can't go to 8. I'm not saying that. To me, it looks like it wants to run again today, but I would not buy this on the way up. I'd buy it when it sells down again. And it will sell down again, but I would not be chasing that here. Yesterday you could have bought it at 3. You're at 4 today. Look, it is what it is. You're welcome, Bob. Thanks, Ryan. Workday. So if I'm not done, but I'm going to have to jump here in 2 minutes, I'm just going to have to start going through the top ones. We're starting to get way more people in here, which is kind of cool. Workday, to me, I would be very careful here. It almost looks like a short. It probably would be a short if what? This level right here, right? Wasn't an issue. Okay? Lucid, I'd be really careful with Lucid here. Netflix, we've done. All right, I'm going to go to the top of this. No, I'm a little concerned about it here. Could it work? Yes, but it's not. It's why you didn't see it on my list this morning. It's perfect. Nice trade. Congratulations, dude. Great. Great trade. So I don't usually play the smaller ones. I played around with that one a lot yesterday and did quite well with it. It's very easy to play that one technically. For whatever reason, it works very well technically. I like debts. I've been trading that one, but the CEI looks like it's just going to keep going. You're welcome, buddy. So cold needs confirmation, but a real shift in direction. Let's take a look. So I would not be going anywhere near this. Yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere near this. This is a perma short. So here's the thing about like pro shares and stuff like that. You need to understand your cost structure, right? And when you understand your cost structure, a lot of these are just perma shorts because they're just going to eat value all the time. And this is a great example of that. So it's awesome. Congrats. It's an awesome trade. So, I would definitely be leaving some on if I owned it there. There's no question about it. Amazon, we've done. Let's do Surf. So, and then I'm going to have to jump here, everybody. Sorry about that, but I got a ton to do today. You know why it's giving me a hard time? I'd be gone, Laura. I just saw this. I'd be gone. John, yes. Any rally shorted. SE on any rally short. Close it if it closes above the 50-day or takes out the higher high, which is 323. All right, so Surf, here we go. Last one. Look, you're trying to get through that 200-day, and maybe you're going to do it. Here's your pattern, right? You broke out, you formed a flag, it failed. You're coming back down, you're starting to curl. See this bar? How this bar is above that one? Pay attention to those. See this? This is your issue. All right, I have to go, everybody. Have a great day.